Thank you. Hi, Rob. Just on this T20 series, the bigger picture this year is obviously the 50 over World Cup and possibly qualifying for it. But where does this set of matches fit in with your broader planning around that?
Yeah, we obviously took the opportunity for the first two 50-over games against the West Indies as a chance to give some younger guys an opportunity to give them international experience and obviously broaden the squad as we look forward, both this year and in the 4-year cycle. But for me, this T20 series also provides an opportunity to get guys like Kiki Sarabada, Anrich Nokia back into the mix, Quinton de Kock, Riley Rousseau, and get those guys ready for the Netherlands games in a way. But as part of a T20 competition, we understand how important these T20s are as well. I think there's 35 ODIs in the 4-year cycle and about 40 T20s. So there's not a hell of a lot of T20s in between now and World Cup. So every event is important and an important opportunity.
So what do you sort of mention those guys? What do you specifically looking for them to do over the course of these 3 games? Do they play all 3, especially the bowlers?
Potentially not, given that back-to-back games over the weekend and then obviously 2 days, so 3 games in the 5-day period. But certainly for them to get a competitive edge back, get out in the middle, compete, put their skills under pressure. These guys are obviously seasoned pros now, so it's really about getting back into competitive environment, really.
My final one is on Aiden. I mean, you've got to have a look at him captain the 50 over side the other day. What are your thoughts on how he performed there in that role, and what are you looking forward to see from him over these 3 matches?
I thought he did a very good job, and not surprising. As I said, I'm fully aware of his leadership capabilities, so I thought he marshalled the troops nicely, made some nice tactical decisions around bowling changes, which was good to see. And certainly looking just for more of the same. I think the SA20 gave us a little window into his style and his ability from a leadership point of view, so I don't think we'll see anything different. It's just sort of a different set of troops out on the field with him.
Thanks, Stu. Sanele?
Coach, welcome back to Supersport Park. What does it mean for you just to be back this time as Proteas coach?
Yeah, it's always great to drive through the doors. In many ways, it feels a little bit like coming back home, sort of my cricket home, I guess, having played all my cricket here and then done all my coaching and training here as well. So certainly a great feeling coming back in the gates and to be part of, head coach of the Proteas now and running out on the park on Saturday. That'll be pretty special.
Great, thanks, Nene. We'll now switch to online, and I see we've got a question from Johan, followed then by Talbot.
Hi, Coach. Just want to double check some of the injured players or players who missed out in the ODIs are some of them already available now?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
Johan, can you just go again there, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It sound better now?
Yes.
Just to double check, some of the guys who missed out on the ODIs, are they ready to play now? Are they sorted? We'll
still be running some fitness tests today. Certainly they've made progress, but there are some of the injuries on sort of niggly areas in terms of split webbings in hands and that sort of stuff. So fielding in particular is the touch point there. So the next 2 days will be sort of their fitness test to check their availability.
Thanks, Johan. Talbot?
Thanks, Lucy. Rob, and sorry to hear about the death of your father the other day. I just wanted to check if Aiden hadn't done so well during the SA20, is that what clinched the deal for him as the captain, or might you have looked at somebody like David Miller? So how important was the SA20 in making him the captain?
Certainly not a clincher. So I've had my eye on Aiden for a very long time from a leadership point of view and just watched him go about his work. I think the fortunate thing from a SA20 point of view is that we had 4 skippers that are all involved in the team. So we've got some nice leadership capability in the side. Part of Aiden's appointment is also looking forward, understanding where he is in his cricket cycle, and how many years hopefully he'll be dedicating to the Proteas. So a number of factors of which SA20 would have contributed, really just affirming what I had originally thought.
Thanks, Talbot. We'll go Chetty, then Firdous.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity. Coach, with the top 5 in the batting order essentially picking itself, we've got Quinton, Aiden, Riley, Risa, and Heinrich. Could you tell us, would there be any, or what rather would be the roles for players like Tristan Stubbs and Marco Jansen, who can also do some things with the bat as well?
Amir, we just lost the back end of your question there after you referred to Tristan Stubbs and Marco Jansen.
Yeah, what roles will they have, if any, as well as other local batsmen who can wield the willow a little bit in this next 3 men?
For me, Tristan sits in the space of being, a backup T20 batter who we want to provide opportunities to here and there, just in case he will be called upon. Guys like Marco and Wayne Parnell, for me, are the guys who sit in the all-round space, who provide some firepower with the bat at the back end, but perform a dual role in the side. So slightly different roles in the team, but certainly we know whether it's now or along the course of the year, like we've already given Tristan an opportunity, we'll continue to do that. We're fully aware of his firepower. He's shown that time and time again. So it's just choosing when and where we'll use that opportunity.
Awesome.
Thanks, Amir. Firdous?
Hi, Rob. Rob, at the end of the one-day series, both Timber and Heinrich Klaassen spoke a little bit about the kind of new batting blueprint and their 2 innings in that series as being an illustration. I mean, Timber didn't say innings, but we could see 2 things going forward. For you, what is this kind of new, maybe you haven't given it a name, but how would you describe the way that you want your batters to go about their business in white ball cricket? And I'm assuming it's similar-ish.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to go down the road of calling it volleyball or something like that. But no, from my point of view, I think I suppose its practical sense is what you saw. It's just giving the guys the freedom to express themselves, take on the aggressive options, trying to understand what the game requires, and how they can best, utilize the skill set that they have. We're going to bump our heads a couple of times trying to find our sweet spot, and we were 4 wickets down relatively early, but I suppose part of the blueprint looks like Heinrich playing that the way he did, coming in with the team in trouble, but us not necessarily looking to stabilize the game to then try and win it at the end, but to just try and keep up with our aggressive intent and nature. But all the while understanding that the requirements of the game are going to change, the situation of the game is going to change, and for me to keep pushing the batters and the bowlers to understand what skill set do they require in order to maximise the most aggressive version of what the game needs at that time.
Thanks, Firdous.
And then just to...
Yeah, sure, go.
Sorry.
No stress. Go ahead with follow-up, Firdous.
Thanks. Just in terms of the...
Sorry, Firdous. We are
Company.
Firdous,
You go ahead and think, okay, let me start getting some things in place, or you just kind of see what happens?
I missed 3/4 of your question, so it'll be tough for me to answer.
Sorry, we're just having Wi-Fi technical issues in the venue that we're hosting this press conference. Firdous, would you mind just giving it one more go?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Rob, I was just asking, with the T20 World Cup anyway, how do you approach long-term planning in a short series like this? Is it about building some sort of foundational blocks, or are you just wanting the guys to go and have some fun?
No, it's always probably a little bit more serious than just having some fun. But I think again, it's figuring out what does the blueprint look like in the T20 format of the game. For me, obviously, the risk taking does escalate a little bit. Obviously, your time is less, so you have to take a few more risks in order to get to where you want to get to. So, but also from a bowling point of view, is how do we aggressively influence the game in T20 cricket, which looks a little bit different to 50 over cricket. So certainly we're always trying to learn, we're always trying to fine-tune what the end point will look like. For me, again, the games provide an opportunity for our players to sort of openly assess the conditions in front of them and understand their best version of their own games on that surface at that time. So trying to create context for these guys to execute their skills. Obviously a certain level of pressure that we want to perform better at. And so it's all part of a bigger picture, in my opinion. For now, there in the T20 space hasn't been a huge exploration of new names, purely because it is in essence part of prepping guys who haven't been playing and who've been rested and who have been injured for the Netherlands series. And the time for exploration, given that our T20 is only next year, will probably come later on in the year.
Thanks for those. We'll look to bring it back into the room with the last two questions. Shawnee, you want to kick us off? Then we'll go with Stu.
Right. Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Rob. You talk about the bigger picture, and obviously we've seen you bringing in newer players for the ODI series. You've also seen South Africa carry a bit of baggage in terms of selections. You come in less than a year before a World Cup. Just in terms of balancing out who you've brought in, who's already there, and just the sort of selection issues that have happened over the years. How difficult is it for you, and also with not a lot of cricket to go before that World Cup?
Yeah, obviously, any issues you speak of before me, I leave in the past. For me, it's every player's got a blank sheet with me, and I request the same for them. It's just trying to communicate very well with the players, keep them fully understanding of where they sit, what their requirements are, what the roles are. The time frame from between now and the World Cup, obviously there is not a hell of a lot of cricket in that time. However, for me, the bulk of the squad are guys who've played cricket for South Africa a fair deal. This one-day side has played together a fair bit, and whilst they have maybe been inconsistent from a results point of view, I think they've played some pretty good cricket, and the England series is probably a testament to that, and a shortened series against the West Indies. So, yeah, I mean, there not a lot of time, but just some consistency, good communication, and leaving the past in the past is probably the recipe there.
Thanks, Stu.
Rob, just on one particular player to break shams, seems in the last year to have kind of gone up and down in terms of when he's selected and when he's not selected. I know he's quite a bubbly character, but does his confidence kind of need to be built up, and what more would you like to see from him so that we see him operate on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good question. I think every player requires confidence, right? So it's about finding a method to instill that. The message I try to tell the players is it shouldn't only be about being selected. You've got a wider role to play, and every player's got a role to play in terms of developing their skills and forging their own games forward. So to Braze, we've had some really good conversations around what he requires in order to stay relevant in 50 over cricket. I think he's really shown his mark in T20 cricket, being successful pretty much wherever he's played the game. 50 over cricket is a bit more trialing, given the fielding restrictions in the middle, and trying to stay competitive and aggressive and take wickets in that period of the game can be tough for spinners, and we've seen wrist spinners be very effective but also struggle at times. So for me, it's I know what he's capable of. I saw it initially, and so it's really about him just finding that space again to show his best skill, but also bring to the party from his side a nice high work ethic, a strong investment into his skill. There's a few little technical adjustments that we're working on. Like any bowler, the T20 format of the game does squeeze you into some bad habits, purely because of what you're trying to do, and that's different to what you're trying to do in the middle of the game, 50 over cricket. So yeah, just working on finding some real technical prowess again in terms of spinning the ball and having a nice attacking mindset, but understanding what that looks like in the middle.
Great, thank you very much. That concludes today's video off. Thank you very much, Rob, for joining us, and to those online as well. And we'll see you tomorrow for Aiden Markram's pre-match press conference at 12:45. Thanks.
Thank you.